It's time for 6 minutes.
6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, make it French your own.
The Odd Couple debates, and you decide the winner. But there's a catch. They only have 6 minutes.
Yes, sir. The new segment, 6 minutes, The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. These guys got really tired of my judging skills on the hot seat.
Yes.
So now we're inviting our Odd Couple listeners to be the judge, jury, and executioner as Chris and Rob are going to go head-to-head, 6 minutes debate. That's all they get, 6 minutes total. Each week we're going to debate a different topic. Now, this week's topic, because, again, The Last Dance has been very popular, the documentary, and one of the big topics that came out from last Sunday was what happened with Isiah Thomas and the Dream Team. So this week's topic, gentlemen, should Chuck Daly have refused to coach the Dream Team if he knew that Isiah Thomas could not be added to the roster? Rob Parker, we're going to start with you. You got 2 minutes. Let's go.
The only thing worse than when bad people do bad things is when good people turn their heads and allow it to happen. What they did to Isiah was wrong, was unjust, immoral. It was everything. It was terrible. And Chuck Daly should have not coached the Olympic team because of it. You want proof? Because Jack McCloskey, who was the general manager and was a part of putting together that Dream Team, the GM, resigned in protest when he realized what was going on with Isiah and how they were going to snub him and disrespect his ability to be on that Dream Team. And Chuck Daly, he turned his head, sold out Isiah for his glory to be the Dream Team coach. If he would have done what Jack McCloskey did, other players would have had to look at themselves in the mirror. And maybe Larry Bird would have said, you know what? That ain't right. And we shouldn't do this. We're supposed to be putting together the greatest basketball team ever assembled. And you know what? It won't be if Isiah Thomas, who at that time was one of the top 3 or 4 players in the entire league, is not a part of it. And if that means hurting Michael Jordan's feelings or not having him on the team, Michael Jordan would have to be the one to this day to wear that and carry that he was the big baby who didn't want Isiah on the team, and he'd have to wear that for his career. It would be a stain on his career instead of Isiah Thomas's. Chuck Daly did an injustice, and he shouldn't have. Isiah Thomas belonged. He should not have coached the Olympic team.
Isiah Thomas did belong on that Dream Team. I totally agree. And I think Chuck Daly should have pushed hard to get Isiah on that team. He should have went and met with Michael Jordan privately and said, look, I get it. You're upset with Isiah. We know what he did, but he's a good guy. This can be worked out. He should be on this team. He could have went and got Magic Johnson, talked to him, talked to Larry Bird, talked to the 3 of them together. I do agree he should have pushed harder to get Isiah on that team. However, the fact of the matter is that each man has to stand on his own, what he's done with his own actions. And Isiah Thomas, whether we agree with the overreaction or not, he did do things that had nothing to do with Chuck Daly that made those players upset with him. He walked off without shaking. He walked right by Michael Jordan without looking at him or shaking his hand. And that's what upset Jordan. That had nothing to do with Chuck Daly. Scottie Pippen, same thing. He walked right by Scottie Pippen. That's not Chuck Daly's fault. Other players on the Pistons shook their hands. Larry Bird, Isiah did back up Dennis Rodman when Rodman said Bird wouldn't be that good, if that hyped if he was a black player. Magic Johnson, Isiah did something that messed up that relationship. Chuck Daly shouldn't have to pay for that. Every man stands on his own actions. Did Joe Dumars sell out Isiah because he shook Jordan's hand? Did John Sally and Dennis Rodman sell out Isiah because they went to play for the Bulls with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen after the Dream Team and helped them win more championships? No. Chuck Daly had a good opportunity. He could have fought harder, but he can't suffer for the sins of another man.
It ain't about suffering for the sins of another man. It's about what's right and what's just. That's why Jack McCloskey quit. You don't think he wanted to be the GM of the Olympic and the Dream Team? That's an honor. He quit in protest because he's a man of righteousness, of doing the right thing, of not letting, to pick out Isiah as if he's the only one who did anything to anybody or was wrong in any situation is totally unfair. It's not a popularity contest. It was about putting together the greatest basketball team. And Chuck Daly decided to take the easy way out. The easy way out, Chris, is to turn your head when there's been a shooting in your neighborhood and not tell the people what went on. That's not right. If good people can't do that. That's how we stop people from doing the bad things in this world. We need to stand up for what's right and stop playing God with people's lives. That's not our job. It's to do the right thing.
Shooting in the neighborhood, stop it. This is a basketball game and a basketball team. Don't compare it to death. All right? Don't compare it to playing God. All right? What if you and I are buddies? You and I have built something big here with the Odd Couple. What if the ESPN or another network offered you a great opportunity and said, we don't want Chris Broussard, we want you. And it was great for your career and you would have made a lot more money. It's not even fair for me to ask you not to take it. If you want to take it, you take it. That won't make me mad. That won't sell me out. You got a good opportunity. So this was Chuck Daly had a great opportunity. And again, he didn't do anything wrong. He could have fought for Isiah harder, but it's not his fault that Isiah had bad relationships with those guys. So that's what this boils down to. Each man stands on his own 2 feet and responsible for his own actions.
Wow. Some fire in that round.
Man.
I really appreciated that one, guys. Now, if I was the judge, you know who I would pick, but I'm not going to share it. I don't want to influence the judges that we have on hold right now. Now, guys, I got 5 judges on hold at the moment. The first one to get to 3 is going to win, okay? So let's get started. Judge number 1, we're going to start it off with Floyd in Charlotte. Floyd, who you think won that one?
No question. I'm going to have to go with Rob. Isiah had given several championships to Chuck Daly and given him a great deal of notoriety. I felt like he sold his man out. I'm going with Rob in this deal.
There's one.
There's one. Let's keep it moving. Judge number 2, Casey in Montana. Who you picking and why?
Man, that is Chris all day. You can't judge the coach for not coaching. You know, and players have rivalries all the time. Chris all day, man.
All right, 1-1, all tied up. Let's head to judge number 3, Holden in Jersey. Holden, who you got and why?
My guy
Holden?
Rob on this one. I can't defend a guy. I can't side with a guy who constantly defends the cheating Patriots. Come on, Chris. Stop it.
Hold on.
Stop it.
Make it on the merits of this
He
argument.
is.
Come on. He's
said-
talking about the Patriots.
Nah, that takes away your validity, Chris. Stop it.
That's 2.
That's going to have to be a rule. You got to stand on the
Rob
merits
Parker
of the
is
argument.
1 away from
Oh,
victory. We move on now to Mark in
This could be the
Sacramento.
first time he ever beats me if he
Mark, who you got and why?
I hate to say it. I disagree with Rob all the time, but he's right on this one.
Rob
Parker.
Man, I feel like Perry Mason. And if you don't know who he is, Google it. Yes, sir. The first edition of 6 Minutes. I got 8 minutes. Wow.
I ain't paying for that.
I was robbed.
Rob Parker.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Chris, you know what? I liked it. I thought that
It was good. It went well. It went well.
Rob
So
G,
the judges,
thoughts?
we need better judges, but other
No,
than
the
that,
judges
it went
were
well.
great.
No, we should make a rule though. No, you got to make the merits
Off of right.
on
I
the
get it.
argument. Yeah, you can't be like just because Chris said this in the past or Rob or whatever. But it's cool.
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
good.
good.
It was a good segment.
Rob
All
G,
right,
your
speaking-
thoughts?
I thought it was good. I mean, I would have personally voted for Chris, but that's why I'm not a judge.
You
So
would
it's
have?
okay. I would have.
Wow,
I
you hate
can't be
Jordan that
responsible
much?
for everybody's actions.
All right.
He's the ex-nephew of Rob Parker. He's a Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer. Our main man Vinny Goodwill, what's up, brother?
Vinny.
What's going on, brothers? How y'all doing?
We are good, man. We are good.
Oh yeah.
All right, so look, I know you've been watching The Last Dance like everybody else. You had a problem with the way they portrayed the walk-off with the Pistons after losing to the Bulls in 1991. Explain the whole situation.
Well, this is supposed to be this unvarnished, no-holds-barred look at Michael Jordan, correct? I swear that's what we were all told.
But wait a minute.
We know it's
even
not.
Even though it's from Michael Jordan, you thought it was going to be on the up and up?
Rob, apparently sarcasm does not play well.
Okay, all right. I was going to say.
But, that's what was told us. We're going to see this side of Michael Jordan and everything else. Apparently that's not true. My thing is, Michael Jordan said some things in between games 3 and 4 of that series where he basically said the Pistons didn't deserve to be champions. He invalidated their championships, invalidated their journey. And while everybody says, hey, you shook their hands in 89 and 90, what you said yesterday means a whole lot more than what you did last year. Like 1990 and 1991 are a whole 365 days away. And the way it's portrayed and the way it's, presented by people who clearly are taking Jordan's side on this is that the Pistons should have just shook Jordan's hand because he shook their hand and all this other type of stuff. And my feeling was, you've never heard champions talk about champions in that way. Like, you may not like the way they beat you. You may not like the fact that they beat you. But there is a sort of honor or a code amongst people who have gone down that road to say, hey, look, they are at least the champions. And if you think about it, since Michael Jordan has said those words, that's largely the narrative that's been about the Pistons since that time. Yes, they were physical and everything else, but they did go through the journey to be champions, and I think they've been invalidated by that. And for Michael Jordan on this documentary, my feeling is this. If this is the portrait that's going to be presented in 10 parts over you, then take it and own it. Say, you know what, that's what I said, that's how I felt. Everybody wants to put Isiah Thomas on Front Street about what he said or what he did. But let's turn the lens the other way and have a total honest conversation, and then people can take sides and determine how they want to determine it. But if you're not putting all the facts on the table, to me it's intellectually dishonest.
Vinny, we just Rod Thornton came out and said that Michael Jordan had nothing to do with Isiah not making the Dream Team. Is it time for people, and this is I believe 100% that Michael was the only person who could keep Isiah off that team. Jack McCloskey quit. The GM, quit the Olympic team over it. Chuck Daly went along with it. Everybody else kind of went along with it. Is it time for somebody to step up, if it's Isiah or somebody, and just put the blame straight up on Michael? Why are people afraid even now to just admit what went down on that whole scenario? Because when you asked them about it, even Rod Thornton in the interview that I heard, he couldn't even explain why Isiah wasn't on the team. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't even explain it.
It's like what do you call it? Remember the game of Clue?
Yeah.
The board game. Professor Parker in the kitchen with a butcher knife type thing.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to take responsibility for this because they all know it was foul, right? That's how you know that they know it was foul. And in Jack McCallum's book, the Sports Illustrated writer, The Dream Team, he says that Michael Jordan told Rod Thornton that he didn't want to play on the team with Isiah Thomas and that he kind of had tacitly had, final approval. Now, here's what I think. Do I think that Michael Jordan would have directly told USA Basketball and David Stern, I don't want to play with Isiah Thomas? No, I don't think Michael would put himself on Front Street and have his hands on the weapon that way. Do I think other people speaking for Michael could have sort of hinted at that or said whatever they said to people who would get the message? Absolutely. That's why you have agents and representatives and all these other type of things to say things that you don't want to say to get your message across. And if that's the case, so be it. But you cannot tell me that in 1991, you got to think this is September of 1991. Bird has 3 championships. Magic has 5. Isiah has 2. And Michael Jordan is not 6-time champion. He's probably the greatest player ever in 1991, but he is only a 1-time NBA champion. So it's not like you can say, well, Michael holds more cachet over this because he's won all these championships. That came after the Dream Team was selected. And I think at some point, guys, either Isaiah's just going to say, you know what, it doesn't matter to me. And I don't know if he's going to say it doesn't matter. I think if you ask him these questions, that, hey, Isiah, are you hurt by it? Yes, I'm hurt by it, and everything else. We always ask the guys the questions and then say, hey, why haven't you let it go? But we're going to continue to ask the questions because, it's such great, soap opera right now. And at some point, someone's going to have to be honest. Magic Johnson wrote about it in the book. All these other people are there, but nobody wants to say, you know what, he deserved to be there. I didn't want to play with him. Other guys didn't want to play with him. It's me.
Vincent Goodwill, Yahoo Sports senior NBA writer, joining the Odd Couple. All right, Vinny, let's move over to the modern day. December start, it seems like it's gaining some momentum with owners, according to some reports. How do you feel about the NBA potentially starting the season in December and going into late July or earlier to mid-August?
I think it's ridiculous, to be perfectly honest with you. And here's why.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And here's why. I don't think this is actually going to gain any traction because you're going to have to get the players to agree to this. This has to be collectively bargained, right, I believe, to make some type of radical change. And do you think that the players are going to give up their summers and that the players' wives are going to give up their summers? Where do we see the players at on Instagram in June, July, and August when they're not playing? They're on some tropical island somewhere with their kids and all this other type of stuff. Do you think the wives are going to give up their summers and say, oh, yeah, we'll take a fall vacation somewhere? Absolutely not. And if you're the NBA, it's not about competing with the NFL as if the NFL is going to be there. And people do need time to warm up to the season. So if you start in December, you're still going to have a quote-unquote, slow start and everything else to develop storylines. I think the season, the length of the season, is fine the way it is. Like, everything doesn't have to be changed here. Like, I think sometimes, in the age of trying to be innovative and everything else, we overthink stuff. I think the NBA season, the length of it is fine. 82 games. Everybody played 82 games for 75 years, and now with load management and everything else, nobody wants to play. How about this? Tell guys not to play as much basketball in the summertime.
Yes. I love it, Vinny. There you go. There's a voice of reason. A basketball insider, Chris Broussard. Are you taking notes from Vinny Goodwill?
No. I'm not saying it's December is what they should do. I'm saying I have no problem with experimenting like that.
But do you agree with him about the players, Chris? The players not wanting to give up their summer?
I think that's a big problem. I don't know. I think some of them will not want to give up their summer. Damian Lillard already said that. I think others may not think it's that big of a deal because they can go on vacation in the fall. I think that's a big obstacle. Huh?
You know who have a problem with this, guys? Nike and Reebok. Because you know what the summer is for?
They go overseas.
The summer is for those overseas trips to promote and market their guys.
Mm-hmm. But why can't they do that in the fall?
I just think the way that the calendar goes, because those kids are out of school. And that's
the kids are in the fall. They're in school.
Well, they can do it on weekends. I'm just saying. Here's my thing, Vinny. I think it's fine I think because of this situation with the shutdown, they may have to, start in December, and it gives them a chance to see. It may not be the best thing, but it gives you a chance to see, do people tune in the summer? How do players like playing through the summer? Selfishly, I don't want them to do it because I like my summer better, right? I'd rather have my summer where I don't have to worry about chasing the NBA and going to games and stuff. But I'm just saying, I think it's fine to experiment.
I agree with you. Next season, everything's going to be jacked up. So I'm not saying start the season in October. I think that's totally unrealistic. But here's the other part of it. People's television viewing habits decrease in the summertime, especially once kids are out of school because families are going on vacation and things like that. So if you're trying to get more eyeballs on your product, then you're basically you're putting your playoffs and your finals in a position where you're not even going to get maximum
That's been the history.
People are going to be out of town.
That's been the history. But look, if you on vacation, you're not watching the NBA Finals. You don't think most brothers are going to watch the NBA Finals on vacation?
Now, Chris, I need you to be realistic with me. How many brothers you know got a Nielsen box?
Hey, I'm just saying. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a
how we
whole nother
measure it.
conversation.
That's how we measure
but I'm
it.
saying, like, in the Summer League, people tune into the Summer League games. People go to the Summer League games.
Chris.
So there's a certain number of people that's going to check it out.
Chris Broussard, did you just...
Yes, he tried to equate the Summer League and the
Summer
2
League.
weeks.
Yes, I did.
It's 100 degrees
because you're talking about G League players
in Vegas.
You ain't talking about LeBron and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, like I said, maybe I'll be proven wrong. I'm just saying they can experiment with it and see. And if it don't work, it don't work.
Chris, this is light skin logic. You know that? This is light
I don't even know what that means.
That means
I don't even know what that means.
Crazy. It's crazy, Vinny. You got it.
I bet
I'm the crazy one.
Get it.
You know what, Vinny? Today you became my favorite NBA insider. My man. So proud
Vinny,
of you.
I don't know how proud of you, I don't know how proudly you want to wear that crown, Vinny.
I'm so proud of you, Vinny.
Vincent Goodwill, our Yahoo Sports senior NBA
buddy.
right insider. Good job, Ray, man.
Hey,
thanks.
Y'all stay safe, man.
All right, brother. It's our most controversial segment of the day. Shop Talk is next. Couple Fox Sports Radio.